If you carry a concealed firearm, you need to hear this. Right now, across the United States, there are new gun laws being passed quietly at the state level that almost nobody is talking about. These aren't the big headline-grabbing bans or restrictions you see on the news. These are subtle, complex regulations that are designed to fly under the radar, and they are creating serious legal traps for everyday gun owners like you and me. The problem is not that these laws are being debated publicly. The problem is that they are being passed without much noise, without much attention, and without most people even knowing they exist. And if you don't know about them, you could easily become a criminal overnight without ever intending to break the law. This is not about taking away your Second Amendment rights through a direct ban. This is about making it so complicated, so risky, and so confusing to carry a gun legally that many people will simply stop doing it out of fear. That is the strategy. Make the rules so unclear and so easy to violate that responsible gun owners either give up or accidentally break the law and face serious consequences. And the scary part is that ignorance of the law is not a defense. You can be a law-abiding citizen your entire life, you can have your permit, you can follow all the rules you know about, and still end up facing felony charges because of a law you never even heard of. So today, I want to walk you through 7 new gun laws that are spreading across the country right now. These are laws that affect concealed carry holders specifically, and they are laws that could turn your life upside down if you're not careful. Let's get into it. First, let's talk about something that a lot of people misunderstand, and that is permitless carry. More and more states are adopting what is called constitutional carry or permitless carry. That means you do not need a permit to carry a concealed firearm in your home state. That sounds great, right? It sounds like more freedom. And in some ways it is. But here is the catch that almost nobody talks about. Just because your state allows permitless carry does not mean you're protected when you travel. In fact, many states that have permitless carry still issue permits. And the reason they do that is for reciprocity. Reciprocity is the agreement between states that allows your permit to be recognized in another state. But here's the problem. Some states now require you to have a physical permit card in order to be covered by reciprocity, even if your home state does not require you to have one to carry there. So let's say you live in a constitutional carry state, and you have never bothered to get a permit because you do not need one at home. You decide to take a road trip to visit family in another state. You assume that because your state allows permitless carry, you are good to go. But when you cross the state line, you are now in a state that does not recognize constitutional carry from your state. They only recognize your state's permit holders. And because you do not have a permit card, you are now illegally carrying a concealed firearm. That is a felony in many states. You could be arrested, your gun could be confiscated, and you could be facing serious criminal charges, all because you did not realize that permitless carry does not travel with you. This is a huge trap, and it is catching more and more people every single day. If you are finding this information helpful, do me a favor and hit that like button. It really helps get this message out to more people who need to hear it. And if you are not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the channel because I am going to keep breaking down these kinds of issues that affect your rights and your safety. Share this video with your friends and family who carry, because this could literally save someone from going to jail. Now let's talk about school zones. You probably already know that there is a federal law that makes it illegal to carry a gun within 1,000 feet of a school. That law has been around for a long time, and most concealed carry permit holders are aware of it. But what you might not know is that several states have recently passed their own expanded school zone laws that go way beyond the federal rule. And these state laws add extra layers of restrictions that are confusing, poorly publicized, and very easy to violate by accident. For example, some states now say that even if you have a valid concealed carry permit, you still cannot carry near a school during certain hours or during school-related events. And the definition of what counts as a school-related event is often vague. Does a football game count? Does a weekend fundraiser count? What about a parent-teacher meeting? The law does not always make that clear. And here is the worst part. Many of these new state laws do not require any signage or warning. You could be walking down a public street or driving through a neighborhood and unknowingly violate the law just because you happen to be within the restricted distance of a school at the wrong time. You will not see a sign. You will not get a warning. You will just be breaking the law, and if you get caught, you could be charged with a crime. This is especially dangerous in urban areas where schools are everywhere. You could be running errands, going to the store, sitting in traffic, and without realizing it, you are in violation of a school zone restriction. It is a legal minefield, and most people have no idea it even exists. Next up, let's talk about vehicle storage laws. This is a big one that has been spreading fast in the last couple of years. Several states have now passed laws that require you to store your firearm in a specific way when you leave it in your vehicle. We are not just talking about locking your car. We are talking about approved lockboxes, gun safes, or other secure storage devices. And if you do not follow these rules, you can be charged with a crime, even if your car is locked and even if your gun gets stolen. Think about that for a second. You could be the victim of a crime. Someone breaks into your car and steals your firearm, and instead of the thief being the only one who faces charges, you could also be charged for improper storage. In some states, it does not matter that your car was locked. It does not matter that you did everything you thought was reasonable. If your gun was not stored in the exact way the law requires, you are the one who broke the law, and the definitions of what counts as proper storage vary from state to state. In some places, a glove box is not enough. A center console is not enough. You need a bolted lockbox or a cable lock. And if you are traveling through multiple states, the rules could change every time you cross a state line. So now, as a concealed carry holder, you not only have to worry about where you can carry, but also how you store your gun when you are not carrying it. It is another layer of legal responsibility that most people are completely unaware of. If this video is opening your eyes to how complicated things have gotten, make sure you like it, subscribe to the channel, and share it with anyone who carries a firearm. These are the kinds of details that do not make the evening news, but they can absolutely change your life if you do not know about them. Let's move on to magazine capacity. A lot of states have magazine capacity limits. Well, you probably know that, but what you might not know is that some states now have different magazine limits for concealed carry than they do for general possession. Let me explain. In some states, you might be allowed to own a 15-round magazine. You can keep it at home, you can use it at the range, no problem. But if you carry that same magazine concealed in public, you are breaking the law. The concealed carry limit might be 10 rounds, or even less. And if you get caught carrying a gun with a magazine that exceeds the carry-specific limit, you can be charged with a separate crime on top of whatever else might be going on. This is a trap that catches a lot of people because they assume that if they are legally allowed to own the magazine, they are legally allowed to carry it. But that is not always true anymore. And the worst part is that these laws are not always clearly explained. You might read your state's gun laws and see the general capacity limit, but miss the fine print that says concealed carry has a different rule. And just like that, you're unknowingly breaking the law every time you leave the house. Here's another new one that is really concerning. Some states have now passed laws that require you to report any defensive use of your firearm within a very strict time limit. We are talking about 1 hour, 2 hours, sometimes even less. So let's say you are involved in a self-defense situation. You are scared, your adrenaline is pumping, maybe you are hurt, maybe someone else is hurt. You are trying to process what just happened. You call the police, you try to get help, you try to make sure everyone is safe. But if you do not report the incident in the exact way the law requires, within the exact time frame the law requires, you could face criminal charges or lose your permit. Even if the shooting was completely justified, even if you did nothing wrong. If you miss the reporting deadline or if you do not include the right information, the state can come after you. And these laws do not care if you are in shock. They do not care if you are injured. They do not care if you are confused or distressed. The clock starts the moment the incident happens, and if you do not follow the rules, you pay the price. This is a huge burden to put on someone who just went through one of the most traumatic experiences of their life. And again, most people have no idea these reporting requirements even exist until it is too late. Now, let's talk about disqualifications. Most people know that if you are convicted of a felony, you lose your gun rights. That is not new. But what is new is that some states are now denying or revoking concealed carry permits based on things that have nothing to do with guns. We are talking about minor misdemeanors. We are talking about police reports where no charges were ever filed. We are talking about situations where you were not even convicted of anything. In some states, if the police show up to your house for a domestic disturbance, even if no one is arrested, even if it was just an argument, that can be enough to trigger a permit review or revocation. You do not have to be found guilty. You do not have to be charged. Just the fact that there was a report can be used against you. And in many cases, the burden is on you to prove that you should still be allowed to have your permit. You have to go through an appeal process. You have to hire a lawyer. You have to fight to get your rights back, even though you were never convicted of anything. This is a huge expansion of how disqualifications work, and it is spreading to more and more states. If you are still with me, thank you. I know this is heavy stuff, but it is so important. Do me a favor and hit that like button. Subscribe if you have not already, and share this with everyone you know who carries. This information could literally save someone from losing their freedom. Let's talk about permit renewals. This one seems small, but it is catching a lot of people off guard. Many states used to have grace periods for renewing your concealed carry permit. That meant if your permit expired, you had a few weeks or even a couple of months to renew it without any penalties. You were still legal to carry during that grace period. But a lot of states have quietly removed those grace periods. Now, if your permit expires, even by 1 day, you are immediately carrying illegally. There is no buffer. There is no warning. Your permit expires at midnight, and the next morning, if you are carrying, you are committing a crime. And if you miss your renewal window, in some states you cannot just renew. You have to start the entire process over from scratch. New application, new fingerprints, new fees, new waiting period. All because you were a few days late. This is especially dangerous for people who travel a lot or who have busy lives and might not be checking their permit expiration date every month. One missed deadline and suddenly you're on the wrong side of the law. So why is all of this happening? Why are these laws being passed? Here's the truth. These laws are not designed to make you safer. They are not designed to stop criminals. They are designed to discourage you from carrying at all. The goal is to make concealed carry so legally complicated, so risky, and so full of traps that ordinary people will just decide it is not worth it. That is the strategy. It is regulatory pressure. It is death by 1,000 cuts. They are not banning guns outright because that would be too obvious and it would face too much resistance. Instead, they are making it nearly impossible to carry legally without constantly worrying about whether you're breaking some obscure rule you have never heard of. And the problem is, it is working. A lot of good people are choosing not to carry anymore because they are afraid of accidentally becoming criminals. And that is exactly what these laws are intended to do. So what do you do about it? First, you have to stay informed. You cannot rely on what you learned when you got your permit 5 years ago. You cannot rely on what your buddy told you. You cannot even rely on apps or websites unless you know they are being updated regularly. Laws are changing fast. And if you carry a gun, it is your responsibility to know the laws in your state and in any state you travel to. Second, consider joining a gun rights organization that provides legal resources and updates. There are groups out there that track these laws and send out alerts when something changes. That can be a huge help. Third, if you travel, do your research before you go. Do not assume that just because you are legal in your home state, you are legal everywhere. Check the reciprocity maps. Check the state laws. Make sure you know what you're getting into. And fourth, consider getting a permit, even if your state does not require one. The permit could be the difference between being legal and being a felon when you cross state lines. Here's the bottom line. Concealed carry is becoming more legally dangerous, not because criminals are being targeted, but because law-abiding gun owners are being set up to fail. These laws are complicated, they are confusing, and they are spreading fast. And the people passing them are counting on you not knowing about them. But now you do. Now you know what to watch out for. Now you know that staying legal is not just about having a permit and keeping your gun holstered. It is about constantly staying on top of the rules, understanding the traps, and making sure you do not accidentally step into one. This is the reality of concealed carry in the current environment. It is not fair, it is not right, but it is what we are dealing with. So stay sharp, stay informed, and stay legal. If this video helped you, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends and family. The more people who know about these laws, the better prepared we all are. Stay safe out there.